Can you see my video?
Oh, I want to see the screen. Like,
Okay, maybe I'll open in mobile. Sorry, in laptop.
oh, okay. You are there in your laptop.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just going to stop my screen sharing. What about other like Sujata, like us? Neha, are you sharing your screen?
So can you please send the link? Okay.
Pardon?
Can you please send the link of the folder?
No, what
On
link,
WhatsApp?
Sujata?
The videos, the link to video folder.
Okay, already it is there, right? Like, I think everyone is having that link access. 1 second, I'm just going to send you. Okay, Sneha, we are able to see your screen, Sneha.
No, it's me.
Pardon?
It's me, Pius.
Oh, Bias, just tell me, Bias.
Yeah, I'm sharing the screen.
Okay. So for you, it got installed, right?
PyCharm?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So all the things, PyCharm, Python, and
Yeah.
even everything we have installed. So you are ready to code.
Python and PyCharm.
1 second, just a minute. One second. Okay, I think like Sujat and Neha, you told you're just going to share. Bias, like, can you please stop sharing the screen? Sneha told like she has some problem. What is the problem you are facing, Sneha? You are not able to install, or in installation, do you have any problem? Okay, no problem. So I'll just continue now. So we'll see if there is any issue you have, right? Like we'll just see it in the ending of this session. Okay. So right now you are able to see my screen.
Yes, I am able to see.
Okay, fine. 1 second. Going to the SQL and see already whatever the projects that we have created, right? It is going to be available in the location, in which location you have created your project. So it's going to be available in that particular location. For me, it is going to be C:, users, and under this users, and under that partner, something that is going to be there, right? Partner section. So it's going to be available in PyCharm projects, Selenium. Where is the Python project, PyCharm projects?
Once it is saying data sharing. So should I send anonymous statistics or don't send?
Not getting you.
What is it?
Not getting.
No, it is saying data sharing. It is saying two options: don't send or send anonymous statistics.
Yeah, Rajesh, it's after installing the PyCharm, it's showing as first access, and then they ask the question like this: should we have to send an anonymous code or something?
Okay, should I
So
send
I
anonymous?
yesterday I did don't send.
Don't send?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, don't send. Correct. Hmm. Okay, I'm thinking like what is the question is like.
Okay, got it.
Okay, fine. See here. See, I have created a project here like called Selenium RFW project or something. So in the similar way, see, it got created the folder name called in the similar folder. So what is the folder here? It got created the project related stuff. Whatever the folders I'm just going to create in my project, right? That is going to be available in this particular path here. So you are just getting this point, right? Now I have just created some set of project structure and created some set of folders. Under that particular folders, you see under my test cases, I have just created some set of files and all. Okay. So now in this, right, like what I'm just going to do here is, so 1 second. So I'm just going to right click on this and do a small, like I'm just going to create a small file called Python file. So here I'm just going to name it as a I'm just going to name my file name as it's
Rajesh, we have to do the same.
see, either you can do the things or otherwise you just listen the things and you can also do it in the later point of time also. Okay. Already you have created a project file. So for you, you are done. So for me, right, it is a first you can give the any name here, your file name. So I'm just going to give my first Python file. So this is my file name I'm just going to create here for your sake. When I'm just going to click on enter, it is going to create one Python file for me. Now see, we have created the Python file, right? Now we are ready to write our automation scripts here. So if we are just ready to write an automation script, what we are just going to write here initially, see if I want to print something in the screen, how there is a command called, I'm just going to use just a print statement. So print statements here, inside the print, if I'm just going to have some double quotations and I'm going to give, we are learning Python first. And then we are going to learn Selenium next. Okay. So this is the text I just want to print. Like you see, if I want to print anything in the terminal, in the console, I can just use this print statements. Inside the print, whatever you are just going to give, right, that is going to get displayed in the screen. Now, simply I'm just going to run this. See here, this if we want to run this file, right, just right click here and you can just click on this, run my first Python file. This is the file name. Your file name is going to be with the .py extension, and either you can run by this way or otherwise you can just go and select here what is the exact file your file name is, and then you can just go and click on this run button. It is also going to do the same thing. In the similar way, the third option is you can just go to this run and click on this run this file here. Either you can run your Python file any one of this way. See, when you have just executed the file, we are see whatever the thing that here, this is the text I just asked you to print by using this print statement. Print, this is the print method or print statement, you can call it. See, the same text is getting displayed in the terminal. That means the result is going to get displayed in the terminal here. In addition to that, see, you are able to see that process finished with exit code 0. That means that if it is 0 means then there is no errors in your code. If there is any 1, 2, 3 or something is there means yesterday we have seen, right? Like I'm just going to have something simply, I'm just going to enter some number here. If I'm just going to run this, see it is going to, now also it is not getting, it is not showing any error here. So if I'm just going to enter this thing, so when I try to run this, see it is giving the error message saying that in the line number 4, this is the line number 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 is that, right? In the line number 4, it is saying invalid syntax, something you have run wrongly. See, before it gets displayed, here you are just getting the red color indication. If you are just going to keep your mouse over on that, right, it is going to say that it is unresolved reference. Something like that you are just going to get. So, see, when you are typing the code itself, the Python interpreter is going to compile your code and automatically it is going to display if there is any errors is there in this code, it's going to get displayed here itself with the red color underline. Red color underline is there means in your code, you have done some mistake here. You want to correct that. So right now I'm just going to remove this. See, if I want to print not only the string value, I can also print any numbers or anything. I can also print the number of 23 or something. And the numbers I can just print. I can also just print the Boolean value. So true. See, whatever the things you are trying to print here, it's going to get printed. See, when I try to run this, see in the first line, it is getting displayed with the text. Second line, 23. Third line, true. It's getting displayed here. That means either you can print string values, integer values, or normal Boolean values. We are just going to call this as a Boolean values. I'm just going to tell you about these data types right now. Okay, you are able to get right how to print. Here, see, once after printing this particular line, automatically, it is going to the next line and the next value is getting printed in the next line. How it is happening means automatically the slash next line is a tag which has been by default, it has been attached to this print statement. That means, see, if I'm internally, I'm just going to use /n here. See, in this result, so we have all the lines in with there is no spaces, just only one line. It is in the first line, second line, third line you are getting. If I'm just going to have /n here, what is this /n here? It's nothing but a new line. We are just going to call this tag as a new line. Okay, you just remember this. So if I'm just going to run this, see what is going to happen. After this first line is getting printed, it is giving one line space, and then it is displaying the 23. That means if you are just going to give another /n here, it's going to give 2 lines space. You are just getting it right. So 2 line spaces, you are just getting the 2 line space. That means, so you are just going to have like how many number of /n's you are just going to use, that many number of next lines is going to get displayed with an empty space. If you are just going to, yes.
Why there is no double inverted commas in the for true?
True. Actually, true is nothing but it's a Boolean value. That's what I told. I'll just tell you what are the data types you want to understand. Actually, this data type we are going to call it as a string. This one we are just going to call it as a integer. This one we are just going to call it as a bool values. That one I am just going to tell you. See here,
Okay,
if I'm just going to have /n in the next to 23, right? See here, these both are getting displayed in next line. Now, if I'm just going to add this, see, now you are just getting one space between this. That means, see, by default, right, this /n is added to this particular print statement. Okay, you're just getting it right. So by default, the slash n is getting added to this particular lines here. So here it's going to be said that if you are not going to provide the slash n's, it is not going to give space. Like automatically, it's going to, so after completing this printing of this particular line, its cursor is going to stand in the next line, and you are just going to print this 23. Cursor is going to stand in the next line, and through next line, it's going to get displayed here. So like this, it is going to get displayed. You are just getting it right. So now,
What about the comma after 23?
yeah, comma is actually, this is the integer value. I'll just explain you about that. Just understand about the slash n itself. That's it.
Okay, okay.
Okay. So that's what I'm telling. Now you know how to print, right? See, in some like if you want to combine all this prints into, and you want to just display it in a single line, what you can do here? See, in the ending, there is a method called end statement is available. END. END is equal to, you are just going to have one empty line here. See, now this line and this line is going to get combined. This line is going to get printed in the next line. See, now, see, we are learning Python, first Python and Selenium. Next 23 is getting added to this particular line itself. How it is getting concatenated, how this print statement is concatenating with this thing means, because of this end. If you are going to have end statement in the ending of the print statement, so this is going to concatenate. This is going to concatenate. You're just getting it right. That is, the next line is going to get concatenate with this particular line. See, if I'm just going to have the same end statement, see, this is the format. Comma means it is saying that this value is finished. I'm just going to add some extra methods here. So extra method, if I'm just going to add for this particular value means, so I want to use comma with the difference. If I'm not going to use comma, right? So it is going to take it as a single value here. Then it's going to throw an error saying that, see here, so something like comma or bracket is expected, like that it is saying, if I keep mouse over on that. So we want to make difference, like we want to show some differences. This is a value and I am the end statement, like that it is going to display. So when this getting displayed, see now when I try to run this, see all the lines are going to get displayed in a single line here. So here if required, right, I can also give, I'm just going to give some space here. Okay, I'm just going to give some. In the end, right, you can give any space or comma or whatever the things if you want, right, you can also give that. All the things are going to get displayed. See here, we are learning Python first and we are just going to learn Selenium next. And see, what is the thing I have given? One space, colon, one space. So one space, colon, one space. After that, 23 is getting displayed. And after 23, here in the end statement, what I have given, comma, colon, space, comma, colon, space. After that, it is adding this true to the ending of this particular line. So it is combining, if you want to combine all the print statements into one statement means. So for example, if you want to write a paragraph, which is going to have huge number of lines, okay, then you can just have multiple prints, and in the ending of that particular print statement, you are just going to have the end statement. You're getting my point? Yes.
So n must be in double quote.
Yes. N should be end equal to. You should have some. You can have empty space or some characters, or you can also write like this. See here, I can also write some text here. So leave it. I'm just going to have the colon here. Inside this particular end, after is it true or is it true or false? Like that, we are just going to ask some questions here. So it is going to display the same text also here in this particular thing. See here, I'm learning Selenium 23 space. Is it true or false? Again, true. It's a true. This value is getting displayed in the ending. See, within the end statements, within these quotations, you can give any symbols, you can give only space, you can give any text, numbers, or whatever the things you want, right? You want to provide within this double quotations here.
So we are also giving in second line, right? And
Yes.
so for every statement we have to write and.
See, it's not required. If you want to combine,
Yeah.
maybe if you want to combine multiple prints and you want to display in a single line of single paragraph or single line, then you are just going to use the end statement, or otherwise you no need to use the end statement. So if the first line is going to get it printed in the first line, second print is going to print in the second line. If end is not available, third line is going to printed in the third line. If end is available, it is going to combine all the prints and it's going to get displayed. You are getting this point. End statement is used to combine all the print statements.
Okay.
Next print statement. So that's what here. So see, every day, like whatever the things that I'm just going to give, right? Like I'm just going to ping that code in the chart itself. Okay. You can also copy and paste it in your local system. So you know, instead of you writing, right, just observe the things and you copy and paste it. In the later point of time also, you can just try the same thing from your end. You can try in different scenarios. No need to try whatever the things I am saying. You can try for different scenarios also. Okay. You can try with your own, like you can have multiple prints, like you can print like 1, 2, 3, like that. You can print, you can have end statement once without end statement. Like that, you just try with multiple scenarios. Okay.
Okay.
Getting it right?
Yes.
Okay, fine. Next one.
So in the third statement, in the third line, like we gave print true, right? But it is coming in the same line. We did not mention end there.
See, here I have added end. See, if here I am going to add end, this line is going to concatenate to this first line. If I'm going to have end here, the third line is going to get concatenated with this print.
Okay, okay.
So that is the way. So this is the one. And if you see next one second, I'm just going to open. So print statement is fine, right? Now, what is the thing next? What is the next thing we are just going to see here is, we are just going to talk about a variables in Python. Okay. What is the next topic is? Variables and data types. See, before we write test cases, right? I just want to, these are all the basic things that you want to understand. Okay. That is the reason I'm just going with these particular topics and all. So first you want to see usually how the things are going to be means. Usually when you are learning some set of things in English, initially how the children are going to get started. Initially they are going to start with the ABCD. Then they are going to start with some set of 2 letters words and 3 letters words. Then later point of time they are just going to learn big letters. Sorry, something little bit bigger letters. And then they are going to learn how to read the sentences. So our sessions are going to be in the similar way. Initially, right now, I'm just teaching you only the ABCDs separately. And after some point of time, I'm just going to combine all these things and I'm just going to make one set of projects, one program. Okay. You are able to understand this?
Yes.
See, first I'm just separately, I'm just explaining you each and everything. So first, I'm just going to teach you about what is a variable here. Variable is nothing but it's a memory location where you are just going to store your data where it is going to store your data. That means, see, for example, see, usually when the application is defining, right? So we are just going to host or execute our application in one of the thing here. So think that, so when the application is ready, when you want to host that application into one server here, think that this is a server. So you think that this is a cloud server, okay? Cloud server. Cloud server. Okay, in this cloud server, so we have one set of application. Our application is here. So if I want to, after developing our application code, I want to move that application code into one of the server here. So what we are just going to do, we are just going to buy some server space. So for example, you think that, so this is the complete cloud. We are just going to buy some set of space here. For example, I'm just buying 50 GB of space for our application. So for our development code push, as well as testing code push and all these things. So we are just going to move our code which has been developed in our local system to one of the server called this server, cloud server. Okay. Here in this 50 GB of space, it is going to occupy some set of space for installation of our code, of our application or code. Okay. So we have just moved our code to this server. Now see, after this, like see, it is going to occupy some 10 GB of space. This code, like code, whatever the code that we have moved, right? Like maybe it's going to occupy some 10 GB or 5 GB of space. Okay. So the remaining space is going to be there, right? Around 40 GB of space. Why? What is the purpose of these particular things? That is means, see, whenever the code is getting executed, whenever the code is getting called, at that time, some automatically variables are going to get created. Variable is nothing but, for example, here you are just going to say that there is a variable called a equal to 10. I'm just going to assign the value. See here, this is my value 10. I'm just going to assign the value to the particular variable called a. A variable name can be anything. You can give any name here. There is no restriction at all. It can be a B, C, ABC, or like you can provide any variable name exactly which is matching to your project specific related stuff. So here I'm just going to say that I'm just going to have the variable called a equal to 10. I'm just having. So 10 is my value. I'm just going to pass this value to the a variable. Now this a variable, what it's going to do? It is going to this memory location and it is going to occupy some space. Occupy some space in the memory location, saying that a equal to, like this, like you have given 10 value, you have assigned 10 to a, right? Now this a is a memory location space. It is going to create one memory space for this variable, and in that variable it is going to store the value called 10 here. You are getting my point?
Yes.
So this is the, like here remaining space and all is there, right? When you are running this particular code, some set of users are going to get log into the system and they are going to do some access. While doing that access, while running, executing the code, so these spaces and all is going to be occupied based on these particular variables. For example, if you say, see, and now if I'm just going to have the value, I'm just going to define another variable b equal to some 25. I'm just going to assign. Here b is a variable. What it's going to do? This is also going to the server, and it is going to create one set of memory space for this particular variable, and it is going to store this 25 into this b. When I try to print the value of a and b, So if I try to get the value of A, what is the value of A I want to check? So it is going to this memory location and it is going to bring out the A value and it's going to display as 10. If I try to print the value of B here, it is going to refer to that memory location and it's going to print the value of as a 25. So see that's what we are just going to see here. See, first of all, variable is nothing but it's a memory location. Memory location it's going to occupy some set of memory location. Set of memory location where it is going to store the values which you have passed. Values, the 10, 20 and all, we are just going to treat it as a value. Where it's going to store the values into the memory location. So if you see here, I'm just going to say that A is a variable. See, A equal to 10, I have just assigned. Now, if I want to see what is the value, it is going to, as I told you, it is going to create one space in the memory, our application memory space. If I try to print the value of A here, when I try to execute this, see, it is getting, if I try to print the value of A, what it is printing? It is printing 10 here. You're just getting it. If I'm just going to have another variable called, as usual, I told 25. So if I'm just going to print the value of B here, see, it is going to store the values and it is going to retrieve the values. You're getting this point?
Yes.
Now, see, if these two values is there, if I want to do some calculations, so I want to sum these two things. How can I sum? I'm just going to define another variable called sum. Sum is a variable. Here, I'm just going to add A plus B. Okay. Now, if I'm just going to run this, what is going to happen? It is going to add these two values and it's going to store it in the variable called sum. But I'm just getting only two values. I'm not getting some value because I did not print the value here. So if I want to check what is the sum value, I can also go and print sum here. When I try to run this, see 10 is the A value, 25 is the B value. When I try to add A plus B, 25 plus 10, it's going to be displayed as 35. That means, see, now sum is there, right? So as I told you, sum is equal to A plus B. If you are just going to have, for this sum also, it is going to create one space. And it's going to add these two values, A value and B value, and it's going to combine and it's going to store 35 inside this sum memory space. So sum also is one of the memory. Like this, whenever you are creating some set of variables inside your program, whenever this program gets executed, at that time, it's going to occupy some space in the memory location and it's going to store the provided values into that particular memory location. It is going to safeguard our values. Whenever it is required, it is going to get retrieved. You are just getting my point.
Yes, yes.
See, if now I have created this variable, if I'm just going to delete this variable here itself. So del, how can you delete this variable? Del A. I'm just going to give delete A. That means if I'm just going to run this, see what it's going to happen. See, it's clearly saying in the line number 12. What is the line number 12? This one. What is the error? Name A is not defined. That means this A variable you are asking me to print here, but A variable is not available with me. That means what here delete of A means what it is going to do? It is going to remove this memory location space. If you are just going to use del A means it is going to remove, it is going to clear. It's going to clear this memory location. You're just getting my point. Then if you try to print value of A, right? For A, there will not be any memory space will be there. So it is going to say that A is not defined. For this variable is itself, it's not defined, but you are asking me to print. How can I print like that? It's going to tell some reason. This is the error. You are getting my point. But if I'm just going to comment this one, so the B and the sum and all, it's going to get printed normally. See, now I'm not getting any error. It's printing B value and sum value. So this is the way. Here, a variable is nothing but it's a memory location. Okay, no problem. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
If it is working,
Yeah, June 9th is working. Yeah, it is working.
okay. So we'll just go back to our thing.
Okay.
See, now you just got it right, like how the memory locations are getting stored. Here, one like this variable is a memory space. It is going to occupy some set of memory space. That's what I told, right? It's a memory location where it is going to store the value which you are going to pass it to this particular value. Here, you can ask me a question. See, I will be able to pass only the integer value to this variable. No, absolutely, you can pass any number of variables. For example, here C equal to, I'm just going to say that string. So string values. String value is actually, it is a text, something like you are just going to pass some text here, text value. And then you can also pass some Boolean values. And you can also pass some floating values, 23.3 something. You can also pass, what is this, integer, Boolean, float, string. See, all these kind of data type values can be passed. See, now here, now you just got it right. I can create any variable and I can pass any values to these particular variables. You're just getting it right.
Yeah. Actually, I have some doubt. What is print means?
Print is, it's a method. It's a, you can, I told you right, it's a method or statement. You can call it as either a method or statement. So it is it is used to print whatever the values, whatever the variables or value, you are just going to pass to that particular print. That value is going to get printed in this terminal.
Okay.
So this print statement is only used for printing the values for checking ourselves. Like if we want to check what is happening inside the system, so then these print statements are used here. You're getting my point?
Yes.
So just to check these values here. Now see here, like see, now I'm just passing these values and all to these particular variables. Now here I told you, like regarding variables, you understand what is meant by a variable. Now you want to understand what is meant by a data type. Data type in the sense, when it comes to Python, right, we are having some set of data types that are available. What are the data types that are available in Python means? You are just going to have, one is string data type, and integer data type, and then float data type, Boolean data type. Actually, whenever you are learning any language, okay, so whenever you are learning some languages, you are just going to you want to know about this, whatever the language it may be, either you are learning Java, you are learning Python, you are learning C Sharp, PHP, whatever the language. So these things and all, it's going to be very common things. Regarding the variable also, variable means data types means it's these things and all, it's going to be very common in all the languages. Variable is nothing but it's a memory location which is going to store some value. Data type is the one which is going to what data you are just going to pass to this particular variable. So that variable data type is going to be decided by the value which you are going to pass in Python. See, previously in Java, sorry, not in previously, in Java and some other languages and all, if you want to define any variable, right, how you can define, you know, how you are just going to define. First, you want to specify data type and then variable name and then equal to and the value. It's going to be like this. That means, so if for example, if I want to define any variable with a integer, so you are just going to have like this int a equal to 10. Like that it is going to be there in some other languages. That means initially they are going to define the data type. That means this variable belongs to this particular data type, integer data type. Then when they are going to define this variable as an integer data type, you want to pass only the integer value to this particular variable. You're getting my point? That you cannot pass, like if you are going to define integer a, you cannot go and pass the text or otherwise any boolean value to this particular variable. It is not going to accept. You're getting my point or not?
Yes.
See, this data type is nothing but it is going to decide what value that needs to be passed to this particular variable. If I'm going to define it as an integer data type means this variable should accept only numbers, integer numbers, 10, 20, 30, 40, something like that. So if you are just going to pass any other any other values like a string, boolean, or some other float or something values to this variable, right? It is not going to accept. So in some other languages, it is going to be like this only, the data type. But when it comes to Python, right, here, this data type is not going to be available. Straightforward, only this variable name and values are going to be there. Variable name equal to value. That's what here we have defined. Variable name a, value equal to 10. That means here how this data types are going to be defined, that is your question. So this one, how it is going to be defined means here we no need to externally define this integer in the data type in this variable. Okay. Then how it is going to take this data type, how the variable is going to have the data type means, see, if I want to find what is the data type of this particular a value, so I can just go and check by just printing. There is a method called type of a. If I'm going to give, right, it is going to display what data type this variable a is, like that. Type is a method, one method. So inside that method, if I'm just going to pass this variable a, it is going to print me. It is going to just get the data type of this variable a, and it's going to print it. See, when I'm just going to run this, see what is the data type I'm just going to get here. There is some error here in the line number 4. Actually, see here I have just wrote some text. So it is asking me to remove the text here. See, one thing I just want to tell you, if you are just going to write the code, you can just write a plain text. See, if you want to give some comments, or if you don't want to consider this code, you want to comment this line of code, then how can you comment means you can use the hash key, which is not going to consider. That means this line will not be considered. Here it is just for our reading purpose only. Hash key is nothing but it is going to comment this particular line. If you want to comment anything, whatever the things that is not required, you want to comment this, you can just simply use hash key. You see in the comments, right? I just want to tell you one thing here. So how many types of comments that are available? What is meant by a comments? See, in all the languages, if you want to, if you don't want to execute some set of code, then you can just comment those lines. In Python, how you are just going to comment this? See, now it is showing errors in this particular line, correct? See, I don't want to use this line. If I don't want to get this line, and the compiler should not run this line, interpreter should not run this line. Then simply I can just go and put a hash key in front of this. That means the compiler will not taken this line into the consideration part. So this line is going to be there, but compiler will not execute this line. See, like this, how many number of comments, how many types of comments it is available in Python means there are 3 types of comments it's available. One is single line comment, multi-line comment, and then second one is multi-line comment. Third one is multi-line comment with single quotation. Multi-line comment with double quotations. So that means, see here, so if I want to comment one line, right? So single line comment, that we are just going to call. How can you comment? Using the hash key, hash keyword. So that's what we have seen here, correct? Hash, if you are going to use hash in front of any line, that line is going to be commented, single line. If I want to see now, this complete thing is there. If I want to comment all this line, then what I can do here means multi-line comments by using single quotations I can comment. That means how single 3 quotations. 3 quotations. Here double 3 quotations. That means, see here, if I am just going to comment, if I'm going to see, now it is showing error, right? The interpreter is showing errors on this particular line. See, if I'm just going to have this 3 quotations here, and the starting and the ending of the line. If I'm going to give, right, this, all the lines are going to be commented. That means this, our interpreter is not going to consider these lines of code while executing. You are getting my point?
Yes.
See, now this one also I'm just going to do the single. Okay. Now this, now regarding these 2 lines you just got. Multi-line comments with double quotation means this is going to be with like this. So it's going to be like this. Double quotations. Inside that you are just going to write some set of things like so this code is for printing, for checking variables and data types. Okay, so like this you are just going to do here. So if here this line also is commented, this line also is commented. What is the difference between this single quotation, double quotation means? See, both the things, like here it is single quotation is not going to consider, it is not going to occupy any memory space. But for the double quotations, it is going to occupy some memory space and it's going to create this double quotation text inside the memory. Why it is needed, where we are just going to use means we are just going to use this double quotation inside the some methods. So I'm just going to guide you like regarding the classes and methods in the coming sessions, classes and methods. So you will be able to know what is meant by classes and methods in the coming sessions only. Please don't worry. Okay. So we are just going to use this double quotation comments inside the classes and methods. So that is going to save inside the some memory location. So for this, it is not going to alert some memory location, but for this, it is going to alert some memory location because it is going to save like a code only. It is going to describe what about the classes and methods, what is the things that it is going to perform, right? So that is going to explain you about that. Okay. So for example, you are writing the code. So some other person is coming and checking your code. So they want to understand what exactly the logic you have wrote. For example, here, what is here? See, here I have just A and B value I have added, and I am trying to sum the value. See, anyone, if they are going to come and look into this code, right, they want to understand. So what is the code means? I'm just going to give a comment here like this. So this code is written for adding two values. Like this, I'm just going to write one comment here. That means, see, instead of going inside and understanding the code, by just reading this your comment itself, I'll be able to understand, right, what you have wrote, what is the logic you have done inside the code, right or wrong.
Yeah.
So that is the purpose of this particular comment. So comments are, it's mandatory when you are writing the code. It is going to be useful for you in future, or otherwise it is going to be useful for some others. Like if they want to verify that in your like in your project, some other person is going to take care of your code. So maybe tomorrow you are just going to do the development. Some other person is going to be there in the support. Okay. So your code is going to be supported by some other person. So he wants to understand your code very much easily means, then you should you should add some proper comments for each and every logic which you have wrote. Right. Then only the other person, third party persons are going to easily understand. See, when they are doing the code, after you write some set of code, there will be some code validations and code verifications is going to be happened internally in your team. They are going to check all these things. So did you given some proper comments for each and every logic or not? Like that, they are going to validate. So you want to be you want to write your code in a proper way, and the comment should be added properly. Then only it is going to be authorized by the code verifications is going to be like approved, or otherwise it is not going to be approved. You want to, again, they will be sending back to you saying that you want to add some set of comments, give the proper comments for this particular code. Like that, they are going to send the code back to you. You're getting my point?
Yeah.
So now I'm just going to comment these lines also using the, see, now you want to use single quotations and double quotations here. And finally, I just coming back to the things here. So where is this? Data types. So now here in Python, right? So now I'm just going to run this. Okay, I'm just going to comment this line. In Python, it's going to be like this. In Java, I'm just going to say that in Java or other languages, data type is going to be defined like this. Going to define like this. Data type variable, name and value, like this. Okay. So here, see, now I'm just going to run this. See, I have added here the value of 10 to this variable, and I'm trying to check what is the data type of this. Here in Python, right, the data types are going to be it is going to get initialized at the time of runtime based on the value which you are going to pass to this particular variable. See here, if I try to print the value of type of A, it is printing as an integer. Int means integer. That means this A variable data type is int. How it become int here? Here I have passed integer value to this variable. That is the reason. So based on the what value you are going to pass to this variable, based on that value, it is going to the data type of this variable is going to be defined internally. You're getting my point. So now, see, I'm just going to print the same thing for this under C. So for the value of the variable C. If I'm just going to run this, see what is the data type of this C is going to be. See, the data type of C is the first one, A type of A, it's printing as integer. Now I am just trying to print the type of C, the C variable, because the value which I have passed to this C value is nothing but a string value, right? This one we are going to text value, so we are going to call it as a string data type value. So this C data type is going to become as a string str. You are getting my point?
Yes.
Now, if I'm just going to check what is the data type of this D, and in the similar way, what is the data type of C? Okay, what is the D E? I'm just going to check it as a E here. E. This one D. See now, if I'm just going to run this, first value A value, it is showing as integer. C value, it is showing as string because string value passed. Third value, it is true or false, either true or false. This data type, the data type is going to become as a Boolean value. True or false is the Boolean values, right? You know about that. That is the reason this D data type is becoming as a Boolean data type. Now E value, if it is trying to print the value of E, means it's a floating data type. So for example, if I am just going to print the value of, see, with that, I'm just going to print the values also here. So I'm just going to print the value of A, and here it's a C, it's a D, and it's E. Okay, now when I try to run this, see the type of A, it is printing as, okay, you are not able to find this, right? I'm just going to say that A value is, I'm just going to print like this. Okay, in the similar way, see, because just for your understanding, I just want to E value. What happened? Here something error is getting, okay, and I want to put a comma here, okay. C value. It's going to be B value. Going to be E value. So now if I'm just going to run this, see, in the result, it's going to be very clear. See, initially the type of A, it is getting printed integer, the A value is 10 because it is passed as 10 value. That is the reason data type is 10. So if I'm just going to pass string, so in the string you are going to pass the value C as a string value. It is the data type is going to become as a string value. So if you are just going to pass true to the value of D, it's going to become a Boolean value. So if you are going to pass 34 point something floating value, means it's going to become a floating value. That is E value as is going to pass. So for E, you have passed only this floating values, right? It's not an integer value. So like this, the data type of this particular variables are going to be defined at the runtime itself. You're getting my point? Are you getting my point or not?
Confusing.
Yes.
Okay, now I'm just going to give the code to you. Please copy and paste it in your local system. Please copy and paste it in the chart. In the chart window, we are having that code. See, whatever the code that I have executed from my end, right? So I'm just sharing it to you. You just read this code and try to understand and let me know if you have any questions.